Hey, SideburnsZA, this one's for you, and it's very important. It is so important, in fact, that I have intentionally disabled monetization, just like you. So please watch to the end if you don't mind. Yesterday, you put out a video titled, "China wants this child to die quietly." Turns out, YouTube listed the video as an age-restricted video. And even after several hours, you only had 12,000 views on that video. The video is still there, but you've changed it to private so nobody else can see it. Now, why would you do that? Why would you change it to private? Obviously because you didn't want to wait for YouTube to evaluate the changes that you made to the video. So you uploaded it as a new video. This time, YouTube did not age restrict the video, but didn't let you monetize the video. I think it's funny that your message says this video cannot be monetized, but it's important, so I have intentionally disabled monetization on this video. I believe the first part, but there is no way that you intentionally turned off monetization. That didn't happen. You are definitely not beneath attempting to profit from the death and injury of children in China.
They do not want you seeing this video. In China, this topic has been heavily censored. It's caused a lot of issues. Of course, they don't want you to see this. They don't want me to talk about this. They've mass flagged my video, and this is what the 50-cent army and the Chinese nationalists do. They mass flagged my video this morning, got it age restricted on YouTube.
Where did you get the information that the 50-cent army and Chinese nationalists mass flagged your video? I've had 2 videos listed as age restricted videos. By YouTube, they did it. YouTube didn't provide me any information, and they never do. I don't think they do to anyone. And certainly not a list of names of people who mass flagged it. Even if they did provide a list of names, wouldn't it take some time to confirm that they're all 50-cent army and Chinese nationalists? How would you know that? You just made it up. That's what you did. Pathetic.
This man is frantically trying to find out what happened to his daughter. But the police are harassing him, and the person filming is told to stop filming by the police.
What gives you the impression that the person saying not to film is a policeman? Is it his black t-shirt? This might be news to you, but even though hospitals are a public place, most people will not film others in distress in the hospital. There is a certain amount of decorum that's normally used in hospital settings. Maybe you need to look up the word. I don't think you understand it.
This woman is getting harassing phone calls out of the blue from the Chinese government.
What indication do you have that it's the Chinese government on the phone? Oh yeah, you made that up too.
And the Chinese government is stealing flowers from people.
Wow, somehow you determined the person is a Chinese government official. How do you know they weren't bringing flowers and not taking them away?
This horrible and bizarre set of events are all tied to this.
I considered not including that clip, but in case anyone else watches this, I left it in for context.
This is no ordinary bus accident. This incident is going to teach you more about the Chinese government than you expect. You're going to learn just how censored and controlled everything in China is, and especially how China's image matters more to the Chinese government than the lives of Chinese children and people in general.
Is this your master class, SideburnsZA?
This is a tough situation to talk about, so before we get stuck in, let's lighten the mood with a data broker rap.
A video about child death and injury, but hey, let's lighten up the mood, right?
We stole their information, sold it for big money, bought you all new Teslas, you stole their details, good. Now send out all that junk mail, phone calls to annoy them. You cannot escape us. We're data broken bros.
Wait a minute here. If you didn't include this paid promotion in this video, your claim of intentionally turning off monetization would have been slightly more believable. But, I mean, you didn't.
And now back to the show.
I also considered not including that clip, but it's an indication of just how narcissistic you are, SideburnsZA. You actually think that is good rap music, really?
We all know traffic accidents happen. The problem is that the way the Chinese government handled it was atrocious.
By the way, did you know there are on average 100 traffic deaths per day in the United States and 7,000 people injured? Does the US government get involved in those accidents and make sure everyone is notified? Maybe they notify you directly, but nobody else, right?
Word was starting to spread about this horrific accident, and immediately the special police were sent to cordon off the scene. They set up their infamous Chinese real-life physical censorship barriers to prevent anyone from seeing the accident scene.
I don't think it's unusual, even in the United States, to set up physical barriers when death is involved in a traffic accident. Not every accident, not every state, but it does happen.
And they released the following statement. In the statement, they said that 8 people were injured, 1 critical and 1 serious. The problem is that early eyewitnesses of the accident had filmed the aftermath, which showed a completely different scene to what the report stated. Little girls crying and screaming, covered in blood.
I've literally seen hundreds of videos, most of them the same video, and none of them show little girls covered in blood.
Injuries everywhere, and there was at least 1 very clear fatality. I'll spare you the details, but one of the little girls had been severely crushed and clearly killed in the accident.
I thought you were going to spare us the details. I guess they should have had you there, and they wouldn't have needed medical personnel to declare the girl dead. You could have done it for them, right? You seem to give the impression that you've seen a video of the scene that is not blurred out. I can say with full confidence that such a video does not exist. It would never be allowed to be uploaded to Chinese social media. So you're just guessing, you're making it up, obviously.
Gruesome pictures and video had already circulated online showing that the Chinese government police report was clearly false.
Clearly you know what information was available to the police at the time of the report, don't you? Nobody else does, but you do.
What makes this situation even worse is that no one notified the parents of the children. Not the school, not the police, no one. They had to find out via social media posts and other parents.
This might be another shock to you, but these days social media actually travels faster than official information. Official channels have to deal with such things as confirmation of declaration of death, extent of injuries, confirming the names of the dead and injured, and that's before notifying anyone.
Here's a social media screenshot from the mother of the girl that died on the spot during the accident. She stated that she had no idea about the accident. Nobody reached out and she was not notified at all. She only learned about it from other parents in a WeChat group. After rushing to the hospital, the staff refused to tell her or her husband what had happened to their daughter.
According to multiple social media posts, the girl that died, named Gu Zhiqi, her identity was initially confirmed by a bracelet she was wearing when her mother arrived at the hospital. Who knows what information was available before that? Oh yeah, you of course. You used to live in China years ago. So of course you had it all figured out and you'd have been able to notify the family before formal identification, right? But that's just you.
This shows you just how much the Chinese government covers up bad news. They produce false police reports.
Dude, police produce police reports, not the government. You really need to get out a little more.
Ensure that hospitals, schools, police, nurses and doctors are not allowed to tell the truth.
WTF are you talking about? More accurately, police, schools, nurses, and doctors are not allowed to make statements without confirmation.
Even after finally finding out that their daughter was indeed the mutilated child shown in the early witness photos and videos, they still could not get any information from the Chinese government. The mother again lamented on social media, demanding answers. Was the traffic light faulty? Was the truck speeding? Did the bus driver violate traffic rules? Why were the children not wearing seatbelts?
Just like in the United States, all those questions that you just asked require investigation. Video evidence that I've seen seems to indicate the bus driver ran a red light. That's just what I see. But I'm not responsible to make those decisions, unlike you.
Of course, this only resulted in silence, and in fact, we then started to see the Chinese government censorship beast awaken. Suddenly, parents of some of the other injured children who had posted pictures of their children's injuries online got unsolicited phone calls from the government, warning them to step in line and stop posting about it.
Maybe you can recognize that voice as a government official, since you worked with many CCP officials in the past, right? When you were here.
It gets more ridiculous. People that went to lay flowers at the scene of the accident noticed that government staff sneakily picked up the flowers and removed them from the scene. So typical of the Chinese government, isn't it?
If I trusted you for all my information about the Chinese government, I'd agree and say that is typical.
The girl killed in the bus accident was cremated, but no one was allowed in to place flowers or pay their respects, with plainclothes policemen and thugs pushing people away.
Okay, somehow your eagle eye is much better than mine again. Personally, I would not be able to tell if these were family members or friends or, like you said, police and thugs.
And this is where it stands. People are being forced to drop the subject. People are being hounded and intimidated, and all traces of this accident are being swept under the rug in a genuine Chinese government fashion.
So sadly, as you say, the Chinese government has blocked all information, and the girl died in silence, is completely forgotten, unknown, erased, cremated, and gone. As if she never existed in the first place, right? I'll let this next clip speak for itself. You'll notice a lot of the flowers in those images are yellow. Gu Zhixi's favorite flower was sunflowers. That's why a lot of them are yellow. Gu Zhixi's mother has posted her appreciation to people across the country, the entire country, for all the gifts and flowers.
We will not allow such cowardly and callous acts to go unnoticed. A little girl lost her life, and scores of others were injured. It was an accident, and yet the cowardly Chinese government would rather this little girl die in silence, completely forgotten and unknown, erased, cremated, and gone, as if she had never existed in the first place.
By the way, I'd like to ask, if the Chinese government erases all traces of these kinds of things, then where do you get your videos and information? I mean, I don't really understand.
They do not want you seeing this video. In China, this topic has been heavily censored. It's caused a lot of issues. Of course, they don't want you to see this. They don't want me to talk about this.
If you're talking about the family, I fully agree with you. I am 100% certain that there is not one person on this entire planet Earth the family would prefer never utter Gu Zhixi's name or attempt to speak about this tragedy than you. There are no words to describe what kind of person you are, SideburnsZA, but I'm about to give it a try. Let's say a dog owner takes his dog out for a walk on the city streets in the evening. His dog takes a dump on the sidewalk, but his owner forgot to bring a bag or any plastic gloves to pick it up. Then I walk by next, I don't see it in time, and I step in it. And then I come over to your house, and I wipe it off on your doorstep. I just take my shoe and I wipe the poop off on right there on your doorstep. Later, a snail slowly passes over it, eats some of the poop, and shits it out into slime. That shit-laced slime is then scraped up and put into a little sack. That sorry sack of snail slime shit would have more integrity than you, SideburnsZA.